Yeah, it makes a bit of a difference.
Good evening, everybody out there in media land. Welcome to Blue Sunday, brought to you on the Jumper Punch channel. This is Bangkok Joe coming to you from Carlton, not Bangkok today. And joining me in Mildura is former president of the Carltonians, life member of the Carlton Football Club, Mr. Vince Loccisano, or Big Vincenz. How are you, Vince?
Yes, good evening to you, Joe. I've had to try and escape you. You told me you're coming to Melbourne, so I thought, where can I go to escape him? So I'm here with Tanya in Mildura.
Vince, you might need to move because we heard none of that.
Didn't you? Really?
Nah, you're freezing up.
I'm freezing up, am I? Oh, God. Okay.
Yeah, that's okay. No, you're right. Anyway, Vince, right? What a great day to be a Carlton supporter.
It's not a great start to the season, is it, Joe? It's been a very it's been a tumultuous start, really, to the season. We I guess had high expectations, but I think those expectations are starting to drop by the week at the moment. So next week is a very big game for us, and I dare say if we drop that one, the natives will be getting extremely restless.
Hey, Vince. You might want to check your internet because you've been freezing, but we can hear you.
You can hear me? Well, as long as you can hear me.
Freezing. That's okay.
I don't know why.
I don't know. Hey, listen.
I'm in a motel room.
Anyway.
I'm in a motel room in Mildura, so I'm at their mercy when it comes to the internet. I'm using my own data. It's not like I'm using their Wi-Fi because apparently their Wi-Fi is not that flash either. So I'm sorry if I'm getting a bit glitchy or.
That's all right.
As long as you can hear me.
Yeah, I suppose. Let's get the formalities out the way. As you know, the Jumper Punch is Blue Sundays brought to you on the Jumper Punch channel. You can find us at Facebook on @Blue Sunday and on YouTube at the Jumper Punch. So we encourage everyone to like, share, and subscribe, not only to Blue Sunday, but to the Jumper Punch as well, a very informative channel. Vince, we've got a couple of sponsors. First, the Jumper Punch channel is proudly sponsored by the Sporting Globe Bar and Grill at Northland. And as I am in sunny Melbourne, I will be there next Saturday night with the one and only Mr. Rocco and family. Vince will still be away, and a few other stars of the show may turn up, Rocco, Mars and Paolo, and unfortunately Rash is unavailable, out with a knee injury. And and Blue Sunday is brought to you by my company, Retired Working for You Tours. We do all tours of Thailand. So please, if you want to come to Thailand, if you're thinking of coming to Thailand, come and see me, www.rw4utours.com. Vince.
Joseph.
Unfortunately, the memes have started.
Yes. The good
clothing and shoes.
Memes. Yep. The Brotherhood of St. Lawrence or Salvation Army don't want any more Carlton jumpers put in those bins.
No. Hey, Vince, before we go on, big hello to all of our regular viewers. We've got Tony, Lana, Danny, Jai, Carls, Nick, Peter V, Bobblehead. I haven't seen Rat Poison, daughter of a, or whatever his name is, daughter of a rat poison, or
daughter of a
suicide. Rat poison. Yeah, something like that. Hey, Vince, we were there Thursday night. Tell us what happened.
Yes, well, there you see the final scores. Carlton, 8 goals, 12-60, defeated by Hawthorn, 12 goals, 8-80. So same amount of scoring shots, 20 each. But we were more inaccurate. They were more accurate. I think there was more to it than just accuracy for goal. There were momentum swings during the game, as you can see. The first half, in fact, the first three quarters were very tight. Less than a goal between the sides in each of the three changes. Quarter time, Hawthorn were in front by 2 points. Probably should have been in front by more, if you ask me. I think they had the better of the quarter, so we were a little bit lucky to be only within 2 points. But then we had by far and away the better of the second quarter. And in fact, I think we got up by a couple of goals and had a goal disallowed that it was originally scored a goal to Jesse Motlop, but on review it was deemed to have scraped the post. So that took a little bit of air out of our sails, and then Hawthorn scored the last goal of that quarter to get back within 5 points at half time. And I think that was a very big telling moment in the game. A little bit of luck on their side and a bit of bad luck on ours. And then in the third quarter, I think they really took over after we initially got off to a pretty good start. So they kicked 4 goals to 2 in that quarter and ended up being 5 points up at three-quarter time. But again, the game was in the balance. But then, of course, they scored 3 goals to 0 in the last quarter. So we scored 4 points, and that was the disappointing quarter for us where we lost the game in the end. And Hawthorn showed their class, and unfortunately, we just weren't quite up to the level. So there you have it. The same amount of scoring shots in the end, but a 20-point buffer to the Hawks. Now, I'll just quickly go through goal scorers. For Carlton, we had Zach Williams had 2. He was the only multiple goal scorer. And there were 6 individual single goal scorers being Motlop, Silvani, Hewitt, Chera, Cottrell and Kemp. For Hawthorn, Marbiol Chol was the biggest goal kicker on the ground. He got 3. 2 goals each to Watson, Gunston, who came on as a sub, and Hardwick. And then singles to Moore, Sicily and Ward. And in terms of possessions, just the major possession getters for Carlton, Cripps got 29, Chera 28, Hewitt 28, Walsh 22, and Cottrell with 20. They were the only players that got 20 or more. For Hawthorn, they had John Newcomb on 32 possessions and also 11 tackles included in that. 26 for Day, 25 to D'Ambrosio. Ward got 24, Amon 22, Battle 21, Jaff 20. So they had a lot more of the ball, as I'm sure the statistics will show.
And do you want to quickly go through some of the big statistics there, Vince, up on the screen?
Yep, sure. So we've got, of course, the disposals with Hawthorn considerably more, especially when it comes to the outside ball. They had a lot more uncontested possession, as you can see there, well into the 200s to our 159. Contested possessions were pretty similar. Turnovers were pretty similar. Marks, again, they had a lot more marks because of the uncontested marks. So that just shows you that they had a lot more outside ball and were marking it out on the wings and out on the flanks a lot more than we were. Their kicking, if you like, or their disposal, their efficiency was a lot better than ours, as the percentages show you up the very top. What were we, 64% there? And I think they were 73%.
Yeah.
So that's quite a big difference there, especially when you're getting a lot more ball that Hawthorn were getting. Hit-outs pretty much the same between De Conning and Lloyd Meek. I think that was a great battle all night. Clangers, well, again, we butchered it a bit more, 69 clangers to 57. Tackles were very similar. Scoring shots, as I said, were exactly the same, but we were only 40% efficient in terms of goals. 8 goals from 20 scoring shots. They scored 12 goals, and therefore that translates to 60%. And 1%ers were a little bit more in our favour. But I think the story was that they got more of the ball, they were more efficient with it, and they made the most of their scoring opportunities. I think that's what you can basically read into those statistics.
Well, Vince, as usual, He's in the background, ready, willing, and able. He's going to give us his, I suppose, unbiased view because he is a Carlton supporter. Mr. David Rhys-Jones, how are you, David?
Yeah, no, good to be here.
G'day, Reese.
Yes, it's after 4 days, I suppose. You sort of the pain eases a little bit as the time wears on. But yeah, once again, disappointing to have a loss, but I've at least had a go. I mean, that was at least one thing that they got up and made Hawthorn earn their wins. So much better than the week before, and you saw on that chart there the one were up and the little things they're doing. But we're probably just not good enough, and our top half dozen players are well up there with anyone, but our bottom half dozen, 7, 8 probably, are not up to the level as yet. And one of the disappointing things is some of these players just haven't improved. I mean, you think getting on year after year, they'd start improving and you see them. I mean, if you're a Richmond supporter, you'd be pretty excited at the moment, even though they got belted on the weekend. But what they were able to do week one, I mean, if you're a North Melbourne supporter, you'd be pretty happy at the moment. A West Coast supporter, you'd be happy at the moment. I mean, I reckon most teams that have a glimpse of something at the moment and looking and seeing a bit of excitement, a bit of a future in their club. And we're probably
even St Kilda knocking off Geelong last night.
Yeah, St Kilda, exactly. And that's it. Everyone else is looking at their club, looking at their players, and going, "Gee, we might have something there." There's a spark. There's something happening, and I can't see it. It's just the same players we rely on week after week, and it's the same pattern of play we play week after week, and it's just not working. And our players, is Ollie Hollands a better player than he was a year ago? I wouldn't think so. Is Kemp a better player? I mean, no one's improved. Who's improved? These other players coming through.
That's it.
Yeah, they just
PDK's the only one. David, have a look at the comment on the screen. Do you believe the Voss game plan needs to be changed? I don't even know what it is.
I don't know. No, I don't know what it is either. So all I know is you get the ball around the middle of the field and you kick it long into the forward line. And players, they just put players back and behind the ball, and unfortunately we're very, very predictable to the opposition, which makes us easy to play against, basically. So they can work it out and get their run happening, and every team starts from defence, and they can break us down pretty easily, and we haven't got the quicker players through that midfield to be able to stop it. So it's not looking good, to be perfectly honest, and they need to do something. I mean, something drastic, and I think it's playing some kids, playing an Ashton Moyer. Put him in there. Just put him in there. Put him in there. Give him 4 or 5 weeks. Give him a taste of it. We saw, he's got some special talents. He can't do any worse. The fear is that, someone will go out. Was Evans last week, goes out for Charlie Curnow. It was a pretty predictable one. But no one else suffered for that diabolical game against Richmond. No one paid a price.
Yeah, we never hold them accountable, do we? We just don't hold anyone accountable.
Well, the players aren't held to account. No, they're not.
Do you share? Sorry, Dave.
We need to get some kids in there. Look, I had a bloke send me a copy of that actually, and said what a disgrace. So, what else is he going to say though? He's and to be perfectly honest, he's right, because it's not optimism, but you've got to be happier with how they played on the week, than what they dished up the week before, which wouldn't have been hard to do. Would not have been hard to do. But so that's the track they're on. But you got to pay a price. You got to pay a price for when you're just not to the standards. I mean, what standards do we set? What are Carlton's standards? They've got to have some. They've got to have standards they've got to play to, and And unfortunately, they're not reaching them. They're a long way off them, and that's what you got to be saying. It's not up to the standard we need to be playing at. And we're going to play some kids, and we're going to do this. We're going to try different things. We're going to, Charlie obviously was, running around on. He was underdone, but he was playing against 2 and 3 players back there as well. I mean, people forget that he had 2 and 3 opponents just sitting on him because we're that dumb. We still kick the ball to him, even though he's got 3 players on him.
Do you think that they took a bit of a risk playing him on such a wet, greasy surface, coming back from a knee injury or coming back from knee surgery, as a matter of fact? I thought it was very risky to be playing him, but I can't help but feel that they played him mainly because Harry Mackay was a late withdrawal as well. And I do wonder how far in advance of that game they knew that Harry Mackay was going to be in trouble, and whether they selected Charlie purely because they knew that Harry was going to be very doubtful, and would they have actually selected him for that match on such a wet and slippery surface, with the threat of doing the knee again?
I think it's a game they'd set for him from a while back.
If Harry had actually played, do you reckon Charlie would have played? I wonder.
Yeah, no, I think they had him set to play round 2. I think that's been set for a while there, but he had no help down there. He had no help whatsoever until Sauce went down there. Really, I mean, to help out a little bit.
But he looked really short of a gallop, don't you think? Like he looked really out of touch.
He was, and his confidence was zapped early in the game because he couldn't get on the ball and when just when you're getting buffeted around and they're blocking him because they've got 2 and 3 back there, they're able to just put blocks on him. They're good defenders, so they've been around a bit
and the good old Carlton game plan of kicking it on top of his head and allowing the Hawthorn defenders to just punch it away.
Yeah,
Nothing's
or take
changed.
uncontested marks because he can't get there. So. And they got the players, they got Barras there now and Battle and those blokes. Sicily just roaming around doing what he wanted. You put the ball up in the air, you're just gifting those blokes. That's where they want it. That's their strength. And we got one bloke down there who can take a grab. You got Kemp. I don't know what Kemp was doing down there. I don't know what he was doing, but he's not on a lead. He's at times and he'd be an easy player to play on because he just tries to run and jump at the ball, and all you got to do is stand in front of him and block his run. And he's got he hasn't got any other tricks.
No.
So why doesn't a Harry Lemmy play? Or you start looking. Start playing some kids. Start giving them a chance because. They've got to be the future. I mean, why was a kid like Harry Lemmy, why was he picked in, was he a second round pick or whatever he was?
Well, this is his 3rd year and he's yet to play a senior game of football yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Can he play?
And he's tall and he can offer it. How do we know? And to be perfectly honest, and that's how we found out Ashton Moyer last year when he played that game against West Coast. He wasn't played on form in the VFL. He was played because we had so many injuries. And then you see something. And so hard to get a bloody kick in the VFL because it's a bit more scrappier. It's, smaller grounds. It can be tougher in the VFL than it can be in the AFL because they're hitting your lace out in the AFL. Well, most clubs do anyway.
Unless you're in the blue. Hey, David, just one thing. A game for those who've never played at AFL or VFL level, who develops the game plan? Is it the senior coach, or is it the line coaches, or is it all of them together? How do they work out a game plan as such?
Well, the senior coach would have the say over the whole lot of it. So, but we've never heard anything about a game plan. Obviously, they're not going to reveal any secrets, but we don't take risks. We're very, very conservative in the way we chip the ball around. We got players who are either not up to it, or or past it, or I don't know, or dumb, or the game plan's just, we haven't got the players who have got the ability to be able to execute it. And that's the other side of it.
Yeah.
You can have the best game plan in the world, but if you haven't got the players who can execute it, then it's a waste of time. And you've got to go back to
the reason I ask is, like, this is our coaching panel, right? So you got Michael Voss as the senior coach, Ashley Hansen, who's the senior assistant, Aaron Greaves, I don't know who he is coaching and performance manager. So what he does, I don't know. Then Aaron Hamill, who probably never played a game in the back line, is our backline coach. Mm-hmm. Tim Clark, I don't know who he is our midfield coach. Jordan Russell is our forward line coach. He was an average midfielder. Then you got Luke Power, who's head of development. Brad Ebert, development coach. Tom Lonigan, development and talent manager. Who's that? Torin Baker, another development coach, and Matthew Cruiser. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people who are development. Well, who's developed? Yeah. What do they do?
That's what worries
me. I just don't get it.
No. Well, the development, I mean, you should be getting better every year. As you get, you're picked up as 17 or 18-year-olds now, or 18, 19-year-olds, and your improvements, can be gradual. Some players can get out there and play it. Jimmy Buckley was a 16-year-old when he started. I started as a 17-year-old at South Melbourne. Some can get there earlier, but others take a bit of time. But you can see their improvement, either in their bulking up or their skills, are just different things. You can see them just improving, year after year, and every pre-season, guys get a bit better, but we don't seem to be able to do that. We don't seem to be able to improve our players, and either that or we're playing out of positions. You look there, someone says Ollie has improved. I haven't seen it. I reckon he's a better player out on the wing and running those lines. I see players who've gone backwards this year. Blake Acres, I've been a big rap for him, but he's
fallen off a cliff this year.
He's struggling, yeah. So and that's what can happen too. You have got players who've been going okay, and all of a sudden, whatever it is, inside of them, or ability wise, or just the game itself, or their body just can't cope with the demands, they start to fall away, and they don't get any better after that. But I hate to name players and that, but and I won't, but from time to time, you just got to say, well, we need some improvement out of these players, because or otherwise get players in there, get a Lemmy in there, get a Ashton Moyer, Matt Carroll, I think's been playing reasonable in the VFL side. Put them in.
Jordan Boyd played pretty well in the VFL.
Yep. But,
Jordan Boyd, Jackson Binns, they all played pretty well in the VFL game.
Binns plays well every week in the VFL. And can't get a game.
Yeah, he's a bit of a...
Can't get a game. And why? They can talk about his foot skills. Well, at least he bloody gets the ball. Hey, that's half the battle. Get the bloody thing.
Yeah.
And so, they can say what they want about his foot skills or his whatever, but I'd rather have blokes in there who are getting the ball and having a crack than blokes who can't get the ball or want the easy one on the outside or whatever. I don't know. Some blokes, it's just disappointing, very disappointing at the moment.
I'll tell you who's fallen away big time is Sam Doherty. Like on the other night, he had the perfect chance to mark, and he's dropped. I know we all fumble, but he just looks way out of sorts. He looks like the game's gone past him. I feel really sorry for him because he's Carlton through and through. He's had 2 or 3 knee constructions. He loves the club, but I don't know. I just don't think he's
no,
up
look,
to it.
and look, he's a heart and soul player, but then there you have it. The game does go past you, and too many players play that 1 year too long. I mean, he's battled through serious injuries, illness. He's been an absolute superstar, but at the end of the day, when your time's up, your time's up, and you can't be given games. You just can't be given games. I mean, I think they were looking at Doc as a bit of a substitute to be able to bring on, and they did it round one sort of thing, but to come and bring
almost like an on-field coaching role type of thing. Apart from playing, also showing a bit of leadership out there amongst the young guys.
Yeah, and even a little bit of inspiration, I suppose, when he does come on. But he looks out of sorts.
What were your thoughts when he could have taken a mark inside 50 and muffed it like he really did drop the ball, literally?
Well, we're getting used to it, though. We're getting used to players.
I think we all had our hands up to our foreheads, going, "Oh my God, what the hell just happened?"
Yeah, but we're just getting used to it, and it's frustrating, I mean, and I think
he wasn't the only one. He wasn't the only one either, by the way. A few others.
No, but it's unfair, and that's what I mean. It sort of becomes infectious at times too, when I mean, success and winning games and having belief in your teammates and everything. That's but. It's just tough. It's tough at the moment. It's tough being a Carlton person because we really have believed in what we've got. We've had a great belief in them as supporters, and you feel let down at the moment. You really do feel let down.
Is it too early?
This week against Footscray, against the Bulldogs, is absolutely essential. If we don't get 4 points here, that's it. That's it for the season. That is really it. We're going to have Collingwood the following week, and
then West Coast.
Yeah.
Then gather round and
yeah.
Rhys, did you see the address that Michael Voss gave the players immediately after they came into the change rooms after the game? Did you hear what he had to say and how he addressed the players? And if you did, what are your thoughts on that? And do you think that was the right message to be giving the players?
It's different. It's a different ball game now to what I played, but and you'd have to be positive. You'd have to after last week they should have copped the spray, and if they didn't cop a spray last week, then God help.
They never will.
No, well well that's it. I mean the game's gone to the wherever, because it's a different ball game to what we play, because you got to cop a spray, you got to cop the criticism. You can't just get the pat. Wolsey used to say, enjoy the pats on the back, because you get more kicks up the arse than you do pats on the back, and that's the way it should be. And you need the kicks up the arse, because if you don't get them, you'll just meander along and think everything's going fine. I mean, they're getting paid well. They've got no worries. I'm getting a game each week. I can't get dropped because we've got no one below, who they can trust to put in or they want to put in. So, pick up your 20-odd games every year and not have to really do too much.
So Rhys, let's assume the worst. So we lose to the Dogs, and then we lose to Collingwood 0-4 going into gather round. Do you think the knives will be out for Voss, or do you think they'll keep him till the end of the year?
No, I don't think. I don't know. You just don't know what's going to happen. I just hope we can beat the Dogs this week, because they're playing good footy, but they're undermanned. They haven't got their skipper out there. He's a massive piece of their arsenal, I suppose. And without him out there, we should beat them. We should beat them, and we should have no reason, not to be able to take them on. But we're going to pick up in confidence in every area at the moment, and to do that, you've got to just take some risks. You can't just play, the same sort of footy we're playing. You need to take risks. You need to, have blokes run from the back line. You need backmen kicking goals and getting down there, being a part of it, instead of just having this defensive attitude that, geez, don't get beat by too much. We can't afford to get beat by too much or whatever it is. But, hopefully, look, we'll get Harry back. We'll be a different looking team, I suppose, with him back in there. And that's really, we get Charlie and Harry back in there. I think that's when we need to really start looking like a team we think we are, because we're run out of excuses then. Because then you can put Silvani back if he's been doing the backline stuff. You can change things around a bit, and you've got two bloody good targets down there. So the excuses start to run out when he comes back in anyway.
Mm.
Don't forget, guys, Brisbane was 0-5 last year and won the premiership. Some of the Hawks were 0-5 and made the finals. So, I mean, it's not as Rocco says, it's not personnel, it's the game plan. Well, if we know it, surely the coaches must see it. I mean, you think from the last 11 games, we have won 2. And that's got to tell you something.
Yep. Well,
considering we made a preliminary final.
The funny thing about things is there's pressure on coaches and whatever, and every time a coach gets sacked, normally the team wins. The team wins the next week with an interim coach, but the coach just comes in and says, "Rightio, let's just get out there and enjoy it. Let's just get out there and have some fun." And that's what it should be. It should be. They don't look like they're enjoying it out there. They don't look like they're having fun.
No.
Well, they should.
They look confused. Anyway, they actually look confused. Some of them.
One of the biggest knocks that I hear about our so-called game plan is that it's all about contest and pressure. They're the words that Voss has been using for 3 to 4 years. I think he's added 2 more words this year: speed and power. Mind you, I don't see any speed, and I don't see anything different. I don't see anything different when it comes to power either. But the point is that it's very physically taxing. It's a very physically taxing game plan to be focused on the inside ball and constantly, bashing the midfielders around their head by getting the hard contested possession. The game has moved on a little bit toward where we see the really good teams very clean and very skillful on the outside. It's very much played on the outside these days. Voss seems to be stuck in this same contested possession and high, high contested ball count type of game plan, where it's putting a lot of strain on the players' physical abilities. And I'm hearing that it's a very physically taxing game plan that they are losing faith in. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, look, I mean, you look at, even watching North Melbourne today, they shared the ball around. They flicked the ball around by hand. And eventually they broke free. Eventually, if you've got enough players working to the contest and getting there, they freed themselves up and they were able to open things up. That's the same way Hawthorn go about it. They got those guys. They just get on their bike and run and give it. They'll give the ball to each other. They'll want to get that play on happening. We don't. We stop and then
kick the ball long
and then go inside. Yeah, and by the time everyone's set up down, we give the opposition too much time to be able to set their back line up and put those extra numbers there, and then we bomb it in. So we don't play smart footy when the best passages of football we have, is when it starts at the centre bounce and it's 6-6-6 and we get it out of the middle and get it down to our forwards who are in a one-on-one and we score. They're the best passages we have, but it's not a 6-6-6 game, unless a goal's kicked or a start of a quarter. So it doesn't happen all the time. So
what you described earlier about the teams that are sharing the ball around is that, I mean, you played the game at the highest level. It must be a lot more enjoyable as a team when you're actually sharing the ball and, as you said, flipping it around and everyone's having their bite of the ice cream, so to speak, or lick of the ice cream. And you've got a game plan where everyone's taking part in it, whereas ours seems to be very stagnant and there's not really a lot of teamwork about it. It's all very get the hard contested one, get the kick out, kick it forward, another contest. There's not really a lot of chains happening with our boys. There's not a lot of, taking it from full back to full forward without another opposition player touching it. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Hawthorn did that quite a bit the other night. They took the ball forward quite a few times where we didn't touch the ball. Yeah. I mean, you played at a time when Sorry.
Yeah, you've got to be prepared to run and give the ball and share it, and we don't seem to have the players who've got the ability to do that. You've got to break the lines. The team's set up very, very well now. They'll set up behind you, and want you to be predictable, and that's
there was one bit of play that sort of went against that trend, and it ended up in a goal for us. And it was when Sard, you talked about breaking the lines. Sard got the ball and he really ran through and broke the lines and then kicked it around his body to another target, and he took a mark, and I think he kicked the goal. So there needs to be more of that, surely. A bit more flair.
Yeah. And play on too. Play on. Yeah. Don't just go back and take your kick. Play on. Take a risk because move the ball quick because you ask, Charlie or Harry how they want the ball. They want the ball in quick. They don't want the ball bombed into them. From a set kick, which is what happens all the time. They want the ball in quick, so you've got to have that play on mentality. You've got to get the ball. You've got the free kick or mark or whatever you've done. Move it. Yeah, move it. Get it in there quick. And we're too slow at getting it in there.
These are the two things we lack: speed and elite kicking. And as David, you say.
Yeah.
Go on.
Don't play players whose foot skills are down then, and that's probably why you can say, well, Jackson Binns doesn't get a game. But then again, there's I'd rather be playing blokes who can get the ball and can't get the ball, especially when you're struggling. So our kicking is nowhere near some of the other teams, and it's unfortunate.
We see, just on the subject of kicking, you see a comment there from Dynamic Hypnotic. I love that name. Talking about Walsh now. He's looking really off the pace when it comes to his his physical condition actually worries me sometimes. He looked really sore and struggling at some stages there on Thursday night, and the impact he's having on the game. I mean, he might get 20 or 22 possessions, but you do sort of scratch your head and think, well, how did he hurt the opposition? Is that worrying you as much as it's worrying me with Sam Walsh?
Well, look, he's having a go. I think he had 12 tackles the other night, so you sure. Can't begrudge what he's trying to do out there, but he's just not the same player. He's not running the same as what he was. He was one who was breaking lines. He was the one who was able to break lines, but he can't do it anymore. He's struggling with a lack of pace and even his just ability to, I'd see Walshy just exhaust himself, and he looks either underdone. I don't know how his preseason went,
or injured,
but. So or he's carrying something and toughing it out, and that wouldn't surprise me either with Walshy either, because he's one of those players. You'd have him out there at 80% anyway. He's better than half the rest of them.
I don't think anyone's questioning his intent or his preparedness to work hard or that he cares. I mean, clearly he's a player that cares, but I just worry about his impact at the moment and whether he's struggling with that back and hamstring related injury, so that it's affecting his ability to really hurt the opposition.
And if that's the case, then I mean, don't play him in the middle. Play him somewhere else.
Exactly.
Put him down the forward line. Let's see what he can do down there, or
on the wing.
They try something different. Put him off a halfback flank. Try something at least. Because he's a good footballer. He's a smart footballer. He's we're not getting the best out of him at the moment. And if he is carrying something or not, not quite right, rest him. Even just give him a week off. Give him a week off. And you've got to do things that are smart all around that are going to make us better, and that's what we need to be. We need to be better, because we're a better football club than what we're playing at the moment. The standard we're playing at the moment, and I just think we've lowered the bar in our expectations getting out there.
David, what do you think of Lana's comments about playing Cripper in the ruck?
Well, he's been
give me a break.
Doing that. He's been doing that for the last few years. I mean, this comes out when you're losing. People start looking at little things. He's been rucking. He's been doing ruck 2 or 3 years, and he's actually not bad at it, because he's tall and he gets his body, and at times he can grab the ball out of the ruck and get it going our way. So, I mean, put it this way, hopefully Pitnet's back soon, because I think he's going to play. I think De Koning going forward is going to be a huge part of how we can turn things around and juggle around with Charlie and Harry and De Koning down forward, sort of thing. I think we need another down there, not clogging each other up, but just the way we're playing, we have to get another tall down there, because we can't do it with one. We've had one tall for both weeks so far, and hopefully we get back this week, which is going to put that other second tall in there. But you can start using as a and this is if his body can handle it, as a bloke who just plays mid forward, just cover that whole mid forward area. You get big Koutoufidis like sort of thing, and even venture into the back line from time to time and play across the ground, because he's if his body can handle it and his aerobic capacity is good enough, then you just got to flick things around and try. What we're doing, keep doing the same thing week after week, and keep failing.
Get same result.
It's lunacy.
Vince, you were going to mention the small forwards?
Yeah, I was going to mention the small forward setup. Yet again, I just don't know that we're getting any value there. I know that Orazio Fantasia's out injured, Corey Durden's out injured, Frankie Evans was dropped after one game. But surely Motlop, Zach Williams and Lockie Fogarty are just not doing enough between the three of them to impact the scoreboard.
Well, the three of them are playing as good as one player, I reckon. That's
there you go.
They're a third of a player each, if you know what I mean, because they don't do enough. I know Lockie Fogarty plays as that defensive type role, but
got to impact the scoreboard, surely.
Anyone can do that. You've got to hit the scoreboard. If you're going to play forward, you've got to hit the scoreboard from time to time, and he just doesn't do it enough. Motlop flashes in and out, and you think, but he's one, Jesus Christ, wouldn't you think? How would Eddie Betts go in this? With Mackay and Kerno down there. I mean, he'd be licking his lips, sort of thing. And
I remember the boys that you used to play with. Imagine how many games they used to kick 2 and 3 goals in each game, like the Jimmy Buckleys, Kenny Sheldons, Alex Marcoux, Phil
just feed off the big blokes.
Oh, yeah.
And even as you go on after that, Adrian Gleeson and Fraser Murphy and those sort of blokes. So they loved, I mean, the big blokes sticks, and because you knew they'd create a contest. You knew if they didn't market the ball or come down the front. And that's where predictability is really good. That's where, you can be predictable. But when you haven't got the players who can either take that mark or bring it down the front, then or you haven't got the blokes who are willing to get to where the ball's going to land, or they haven't trained for it, or whatever the case is. I don't know what the case is, but do they train for these type of things? Do they work on it? Who knows? But
surely an Ashton Moyer type player would shake up that forward line a little bit. He's got a bit of something special about him. He moves a bit different to the typical small forward, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he's different, and the other one we're really missing is Lee Holland's brother at the moment. He offers something different too through that midfield and in the forward line. It's a damn shame, that he's not playing at the moment. I mean, that's hurting us as well, because he's one I really did expect to some pretty big things from this year. The way he went last year, you could just see he's got some special talents and he's got some tricks up his sleeve. And but too many of our blokes haven't got any tricks, or they're just robots who just plod along.
Yeah.
So, what is there much more that we can discuss about the team? Do we just suck it and see? Do we wait? I mean, there's not much really as a supporter.
I think let's give it a chance this week with Harry being out there and Charlie and getting a bit more settled in that forward line. We haven't had a forward line that's been capable of kicking a score yet. So, but I really want to see us. We need to bring that intensity that we brought. When I thought we're pretty good. We stopped Hawthorn's run-on type of game, and I think a lot of teams will look at that and how we did against them to try and stop that that manic type of run and that they created. I thought we were able to stop it. There were a few times they did get through, but the rest of the time it was we were pretty good at that. Pretty good at being able to halt them and not allow them to get on their bikes. But we've got to find something. And I think this week we'll have our forward line intact with 2 talls down there, 2 big marking targets, and if we can't get over the Bulldogs, it's going to be a long year.
Just lastly, David.
Sorry, I was just going to ask David quickly, if you're going to bring Harry Mackay back in, who are you leaving out, and what changes would you personally make if it was up to you to select the side this week?
Sorry, Vince, I just lost you a bit there.
Oh, sorry. I was saying, if you were in charge of selection this week and you're bringing Harry Mackay back in, who are you going to leave out, and what other changes might you make this week to the side?
Who would I be leaving out? Jeez. it's about half a dozen straight to mind on who you'd be leaving out.
Lucas Camporeale got subbed out this week. And last week, I think Cooper Lord also was made the sub, and he only came on in the last quarter and got, I think, 1 kick and 2 hand passes. So they are probably 2 of the younger boys that would be feeling a bit nervous this week. But what about making a statement with some of the more experienced players? We just never see Michael Voss and the selection committee ever really making a statement around dropping a big name who's not up to it. I mean, it might be even Blake Acres, for example, this week. He's been shocking for the first 2 weeks.
He won't get dropped.
Kemp?
This guy's right. They'll probably drop
or
Kemp.
sit him, you know. Well, yeah, possible. You know, I mean, he could help down back. I mean, you could have, you know, we still need help in certain areas. So, you know, I don't think Kemp's going to make it in the forward line. I think get him back, or out of the team. Yeah, if he's not going to be able to produce, or it depends what you do with Silvani. Really, because if you know, he's going to be the key. If you're going to look at him and say, well, we want to get him, you know, try him in the back line because that's what we've planned all summer to do. You know, you got to go ahead with that plan. You got to try it. So yeah. I'd rather see a Lemmy get a game than you know, someone like Kemp at the moment, because he's just given us nothing. Yeah,
Ben Kemp. By the way, Ben Kemp Reale played his first game for the VFL on the weekend as well. I don't know that he got a lot of it. He probably got a dozen or so possessions, but I think he's going to need a bit more time before he comes into the senior team. But good to see him back out there after an interrupted start to the year.
Yeah, yeah, and I think you know, I think everyone was a little bit surprised that Lucas, you know, got a game so early in his career.
Yeah, so early.
So,
Well, that's good.
Give him the, you know, Ben was
the better experience.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. All right. I don't mind. Give the kids a go. You know, run them through there. Give them a chance.
Let's move to the votes for, I was going to say Saturday's game, Thursday night's game. Let's pretend. Wow. David?
Oh, we've all gone the same. Hewitt, yes, I've given Hewitt the votes there. I thought he was terrific. I thought he was he was just about the most damaging midfielder, and this is including the Hawthorn blokes.
I thought so too.
Especially in that first half, and he, I thought he had a great game, and good to see him back in a bit of form. Cripper gets my 2 votes just because he's, you know, Patrick Cripps, and he just takes the team on his shoulders and tries to carry him across the line. And De Koning, I think De Koning was, his battle was good, and you know, not taking anything away from Meek. I thought his performance was okay as well, but just Tom De Koning does the desperate things. There was one spoil in the middle of the ground where he lunged across and dived and got a spoil in, real desperate stuff, and you got to see that type of stuff. I mean, you don't really want to see it from your ruckman, but it happens. But that's got to inspire the other blokes to have a crack, you know, and just say, well, look at this, you know, I'm going to bloody be a bit desperate too, and I'm going to have a crack. But yeah, so he gets the 1 vote because he tore all day and worked very hard. And you know, he's still learning the craft, but he's getting pretty good at it. And as I said, I can't wait for the other big fella, Pitnet, to come back, because I think then we can start utilising De Koning in the forward line and in other areas as well, and that can make us a better team. And then Pitnet can do that hard Bullock type work and you know, be able to take some of the pressure off De Koning.
Vince?
Yes, very similar. I also gave my 3 votes to George Hewitt. I think he was definitely our best midfielder. I don't think he was the best midfielder on the ground, though. I would have to give that to John Newcomb, who was outstanding all night for Hawthorn. I mean, he got the ball 32 times, I think, and plus a late 11 tackles as well, and was very, very damaging. I thought he was clearly the best man on the ground. But George Hewitt was definitely our best player and best midfielder. Tom De Koning, for all the reasons that Rhys said, I gave him 2 votes. Another really good performance. I think he definitely had the better of Meek. Although, you know, the 2 of them got almost the same amount of hit-outs, I think De Koning was far more effective around the ground. And I gave my 1 vote to Jacob Wiedering, who I thought was a real rock of Gibraltar down in the back line. Took a lot of intercept marks and held down the back line as well as he could with the ball coming down as often as it did. So I left Cripper out of my votes this week, but I know he got the ball 29 times, but I just don't know that he was as damaging as previous weeks. So they were my three.
And I must agree with David about George Hewitt. He's easily the second. John Newcomb was best, but I think he was easily the second best. Had his head over the ball and got a lot of the hard work. I thought Wiedering did quite well in the defence. I think if it wasn't for him, they might have got a few extra goals, especially when they threw Sicily up forward. He seemed to nullify him. And, Tom de Koning. And special mention to Patrick Cripps. And I thought Ollie Hollands tried his guts out. He seems to be a Carlton soul. So here's our leaderboard. We've got Patrick Cripps leading on 11. We've got George Hewitt on 9. And we've got Tom de Koning and Jacob Wiedering on 8. The sad fact is, in 2 games of football, they're the only 4 players that have got votes. So that just shows you how much we tend to rely on certain individuals.
Same players every week.
So anyway. Oh, sorry. I'll put that up unexpectedly. I meant to put it off. David, Spirit of Carlton.
Give you one guess. Another drum roll.
Well, I'm back.
Yeah, you're back. Who's the Spirit of Carlton Award?
Spirit of Carlton Award, yeah. Jacob Wiedering, and I sort of felt guilty that I didn't put him in the votes, which is one of the reasons I've given it to him. But it's just that, we'd get smashed if it wasn't for him. We'd get, teams would kick another 5 or 6 goals every week if it wasn't for Jacob Wiedering. He's just there in that defensive mode, either marking or spoiling, and just an absolute. He's a
Rock of Gibraltar.
An absolute. Superstar. He is. He's just back there, and he's a general back there. And if we didn't have him, we'd be getting beaten by a hell of a lot more. I can guarantee you that.
Can I just ask Rhys? Can I just ask Rhys a quick question? I know we're talking about Jacob Wiedering there, but because of Harry Mackay's late withdrawal from the team due to illness, they brought in Lewis Young, and he played very much in that defensive post down back, as well as Wiedering. So, what did you make of his game, and would you play him again this week against his old side, the Bulldogs?
No, I'm glad you brought his name up.
Against what's his name? Darcy. Darcy's very much the danger.
He's not.
I was trying to think of who should go out for Harry, and Lewis Young.
Right.
Yeah.
So straight swap back again. Okay.
Hey? No,
straight swap again.
Well, yeah. Well,
this week he came in for Harry. Next week you're bringing Harry back.
The first contest, he didn't get a touch on it. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Set the tone, didn't it? It set the tone. Yeah. Unfortunately.
You scratch your head and just wonder why players aren't switched or what's going through their mind. And look, he's one of those ones who, unfortunately, is not quite up to it. The standard that we need to have, and any team needs to have, and we've got too many of them who are not. They're either not at that standard, but they're not playing at that standard. They might be able to once every now and then, but you've got to perform consistently. You've got to be out there week after week, just turning up and at least having a crack anyway. And it was a poor start for him, and
didn't get much better after that either, did it? Really?
No, went downhill.
No, not at all. But
all right,
gentlemen,
anyway, this is the one. This is the one.
This Friday night.
This is the
Carlton
biggest game.
Versus Western Bulldogs.
Could be the biggest
Marvel
game
Stadium
of the year.
Well,
Tell me about it, Vince.
Well, I mean, look, we're going to have an 8-day break. They come off a 7-day break. So there's going to be plenty of rest for both sides. Being played at Marvel, which traditionally the Bulldogs are better at than the MCG. Gee whiz, it's a real line in the sand type of game, I think, for us. As you said earlier, if we drop this one, it's looking very forlorn for us for the season. But if we can somehow get over the line here, then we're back to 1 and 2, and it's not the end of the world, sort of thing. But then we've got a big game against Collingwood the week after, so we really do need to put the score on the board here, don't we?
Yeah,
David? They've got a lot of injuries. The Bulldogs. That's one of the only things that's in our favour. Some of their best players are off. Won't be playing.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why we have to win, and that's why I think we will win. I think we'll get out there. I think getting our 2 big forwards down there. I think this hopefully will kickstart us, and then we got Collingwood the week after. But the thing about Collingwood is it doesn't matter where the 2 teams are on the ladder, and it gets you up. So.
True.
But we really need this. We really need to win this game, and we're never going to have a better opportunity to beat the Dogs. We're going to have no excuses, absolutely no excuses, and we need to get the job done.
Home game for us, so we'll have the big home crowd cheering on, and it'll have a very much a Carlton feel to it, this home game.
Yeah, I hope so, and I hope all the Carlton supporters really get there too, because I know everyone's disappointed at the moment, but get along there and yell and scream and get our team home, because we unfortunately I won't be at the game. I'm going away for the weekend and won't be at the game, but I'll be watching it and yelling and screaming at home. So well, not at home, but
somewhere. And I'll be going to my second and last game for the season.
And then on a plane back to Bangkok the following day or following week?
The Monday. Go back Monday.
If you're going away, Reese, are you going to be able to join us next Sunday night?
Yeah, I should be right. I think I should be. Yes, I'll be back. I'll be back in time. So I'll be right for that. Yeah,
so
I'm just worried that I'm hoping that that plane to Thailand's not full of Carlton supporters on Monday.
Yeah, they're probably migrating. So, boys, here are the tips.
Yes, I've gone for Carlton to win by 5 points. I think it will be a close match. I think we're not playing that well, but I hope we can play well enough to just get over the line. And Carlton by 5.
Vince.
Yes, I'm going for Carlton to, I guess finally get a win on the board. I think that the Bulldogs will be hurt by the injury toll, and with Harry and Charlie, with any luck, both being able to play in the same team, and the faster surface at Marvel with the roof overhead, no rain, no wind, no all of that you usually get at the MCG. I think that'll suit our game style a bit better. So I'm choosing Carlton by 21 points.
Vince, just want to pull you up. What's our game style? Kick it long and hope.
Yeah, something like that.
Did Lord get rubbed out for Belton Cox?
No. He was he was let off on the basis that it was an attempt to spoil. There was no intent behind. It was purely an accidental rub. I think he just glanced him on the way through, but I think you'll find that he's free.
I did that a lot, actually. I did that a lot.
Yeah, and you got crucified for it, David.
I missed. Sometimes their head looks like a football when you're trying to.
Just trying to punch it. Well, I disagree with you guys. I watched the Bulldogs play Collingwood, and I thought they were a bit stiff to lose. So I don't. Until I can work out what our game plan is, I don't think we'll win. So I've gone for the Bulldogs. So anyway,
that's an interesting one.
Our ladder, we all got Hawthorn, right?
Yeah.
So Reese is on 1, I'm on 1, and Big Vincenz is on 1. But that will change.
And we all went for Carlton against Richmond, and that's why we're only on 1.
Yeah, but that'll change next week. Either I'll look stupid, or you two will look like heroes.
Unless it's a draw.
Yeah. Well, let's hope not. Okay, David. Once again, that brings us to a close with you. We like to thank you for your time. We know your time is very precious. And from memory, when did Prada Willie, is that coming up soon? The 15th for 15?
In May. Yeah.
In May. All right. Well,
middle of May, so we've got plenty of time to get ourselves.
All right, no problem.
Yeah,
do you think to eat another 15 arancini? We have to give him a different challenge. Maybe 15 pies.
I might make
sausage
15
rolls.
I might make it 15 cannoli this time.
Okay. The mini ones, not the big ones.
The chocolate ones, yeah.
The mini ones?
Yeah, the little ones, the little cannoli that you buy on a tray in Brunetti's and places like that.
All right, David. Look, if I get some time, I'll give you a call this week, and hopefully, if you're around, we can catch up.
Give me a call. I'll be around about. So it'll be great to catch up for a coffee. And
no worries.
Go the Mighty Blues. It's got to be a win this week. So let's hope you bring us some luck on Friday night.
I hope so too. All right, thanks, David.
Good on you, Reese.
Well, Vince, next week it's going to either make us or break us. And unfortunately,
that's one of the reasons I'm selecting us, because I think we're going to have our backs to the wall. It's real backs to the wall stuff. Without Bontempelli and a couple of others as well that are very crucial to the Bulldogs team, I just think that we'll eventually break them down and eventually break our duck and get on the scoreboard.
Hey, Vince.
Yes, mate.
There's been some other games this weekend.
There have been some very interesting results this weekend. All right. Well, after our loss on Thursday night, we saw a game on Friday night, which was a big celebration of the 100th year of the Bulldogs, and they were called Footscray all night by the commentators. So, unfortunately for them, heartbreakingly close, but no cigar. They ended up going down by a goal. 10-10-70 to Collingwood's 10-16-76. Although I do commend the Bulldogs for playing not only against 18 Collingwood players on the ground, but also 18 Collingwood players and 4 umpires. It made it a lot easier for Collingwood to win. Anyway, enough of that. On Saturday afternoon, we saw Essendon show why they have some really, really big problems, especially in defence. They were good enough to get 100 points. So Adelaide's probably got to work on their own defence by letting Essendon score 100. 15-10, 100. But Adelaide scored 25 goals, 11, 161. So that's a 10-goal plus victory to the Adelaide Crows, and they've gotten off to a flying start for this season. Then you've got at night, or twilight really, Port Adelaide back on the winners list after last weekend's debacle against Collingwood, where they got done by over 90 points. This week they come out and smashed Richmond by 72 points at home. 21-14, 140 to Richmond's 9-14, 68. And so Richmond come back with a thud. Then, of course, a terrific game, which I watched a fair bit of this game. St Kilda playing Geelong, and gee, they were brave, St Kilda, and it would have been a tragedy for them if they had have dropped that. And it looked at one stage like Geelong might have actually overtaken them, but they showed a fair bit of guts to get over the line in the end. 15-8, 98 to Geelong, 13-13, 91. And I think that's the last 4 games that these two teams have played where St Kilda has actually come out on top. Today, gee whiz, at one stage, the West Coast Eagles, I think they were 5 goals to nothing to start the game. I think they had about a 32-point lead at one stage. But Brisbane eventually got back and wore them down eventually to win by 19 points, a lot less than what most people would have tipped them to win today. But they unfurled the flag over there at the Gabba, and in the end, the Brisbane supporters went home happy. 14-10, 94 to the West Coast Eagles, a very brave and gallant 11-9, 75. And this one was a big upset in a lot of people's eyes. North Melbourne, my goodness. Last week's good form against the Bulldogs was no fluke. They came out and smashed Melbourne today, 19-11, 125 to 9-12, 66 at Marvel Stadium, a 59-point victory, basically 10 goals. And Melbourne, they look like they've got some real problems.
Yeah.
And so Vince, have we got an update score on the Fremantle-Sydney game, Joe?
Yeah, it's Fremantle 9-11, 65. And Sydney 8-14-62 with 2 minutes 53 to play. of the
in
last
the
quarter.
entire game. Wow.
Yeah. So
there's only
I'll put that
3
up.
points in it.
Yeah. So the ladder's going to be a bit funny because
Depending on what
Freo
happens
are
in
going to
that
win,
game.
but I don't think there'll be a big change in the 8. So go for it.
So at this stage, it looks like Hawthorn, who have played all 3 games, including the opening round and also rounds 1 and 2. So they played 3 games after. So they played 3 games after round 2. Doesn't that sound stupid?
Well, have a look at Gold Coast. They've played 1 game after round 3. After 3 rounds.
I know, it's ridiculous, but anyway, the WFL. That's what I call them now, the Woke Football League. God knows what's going on in that place. Hawthorn on 3 wins. Then Adelaide have won both of their matches. GWS, who haven't played this weekend, they've won both of their matches. And, of course, the Brisbane Lions in 5th position have won both of their matches. They're the only undefeated teams at this stage. Then you've got Collingwood, who have won 2 out of their 3 games. And they're in the top 4 at this stage on percentage. Then you've got Gold Coast, as you said, are only 1 win, but they've only played the 1 game. So they're the only other undefeated side. Then you've got Geelong, who've won 1 out of 2. North Melbourne, who've won 1 out of 2. They're both in the 8 at this stage. Then Footscray, or the Western Bulldogs, as of next week, 1 out of 2. Same with Port Adelaide, same with St Kilda, same with Richmond. Now, either Sydney or Fremantle, depending on who wins that game, will end up being Sydney, 1 win out of 2.
Sydney have just hit the front.
There you go. And you said you thought Fremantle would win. It's amazing when it's a 3-point game. Anyway.
I said Fremantle were winning. But anyway.
Well, okay. Fremantle or Sydney, depending on who wins that game, will end up being 4 points and having won 1 out of their 2 matches. And there's 4 teams and eventually 5 after this game that will have lost both of their 2 matches. And that's Carlton, Melbourne, Essendon, West Coast, and either Sydney or Fremantle will also be 0 out of 2 games so far. So that'll be 5 teams all sitting on nothing after the second round.
And Vince, do you know what time it is now?
Tell me.
It's time for Vince's verdict. Oh, sorry.
It is time for
something there.
Sorry? No, that's all right.
Just hit the gavel too much. Tell me, Vince, who's in your firing aim today?
Well, it's not the Woke Football League today. I'll give them a rest. But it is actually Carlton because I'm not sure that I asked David Rhys-Jones a question earlier about what he thought of that video of Michael Voss addressing the players in a huddle directly after straight after the game in the rooms. I don't know. Do you like seeing that sort of thing? Do you need to hear that sort of thing? I'd rather that be behind closed doors. I thought it reeked of the Carlton PR department trying to get a positive spin out of the whole situation. I think he probably would have been instructed or directed to make it a positive vibe after that game. But I personally don't think it's necessary. And the club will say, oh, no, we're trying to be transparent. I know for a fact that this place is just built on smoke and mirrors. Everything's a deception. I don't think they are honest and transparent with us at all, to be honest.
I think
I don't know. Other people may disagree, but I just find that that was all just put on for the cameras.
Someone said it earlier that it was all show. It was just put on for the camera. So I think so too. I think the spin doctors are just trying to make the supporters happy and show that we're doing something. And I think that's the same reason that they played Charlie Curnow on Thursday night. He didn't look fit. No, they obviously were desperate for a win. They cancelled that membership day on SEN. That was a joke.
I was going to actually. I was tempted to make that my my verdict last week, but I mean, I might as well mention it this week. I mean, Is that the height of
Hang on.
arrogance to be scheduling a membership drive on the day after the Richmond game? I mean, talk about getting ahead of yourselves.
Vince,
What is it, Joe?
So there's been a controversial finish. The Swans have won by 3 points, but Fremantle got the ball in. The Fremantle got the ball into the forward line, and a guy marked the ball, but the siren had gone. So the umpire called it. So Freo would have been having a shot for goal.
Oh, wow. So, in other words, the siren went. The umpire must have heard the siren blow before he actually took the mark or before the ball landed in his hands. Well, it must have been only a split second then.
Yeah. It's the Freo boys are not happy.
Comes down to the umpire. It all comes down to the umpire and when
he
believes he heard the siren and whether he saw the ball land in that player's hands at the point of the siren or before or after. So,
yeah.
You're in the hands of the umpire there, unfortunately, it's Freo.
So
Sydney have broken their duck.
Yeah, so to speak.
Yes. The Swans have broken their duck, yes.
Anyway,
so just getting back to the point about last week, that membership drive, how embarrassing to have to cancel that on SEN, and they had players lined up to, take phone calls or whatever it was. I mean, a lot of people would say that's just goes to show you how arrogant we must have been going into that game, thinking that we were just, ticking off the Richmond game like it was going to be a win. So let's schedule the membership drive the day after. Well, we ended up getting egg on our faces, didn't we?
Yep, we did. And Vince, now it is time for the big Vincennes bet.
Yes. How did we go last week, Joe?
I'm glad you asked.
Well, where did we get it wrong, Joe?
Where do we start?
For starters, we backed Carlton to lose by no more than 13 points and they ended up losing by 20. So straight away, Carlton lets us down again for the second week in a row.
You got Collingwood, right?
I selected Collingwood by at least 4 points. That's why we've got negative 3.5. So did
Geelong
we get Collingwood? What did we get Collingwood by? 6 points in the end.
Yeah.
Well, we got Geelong
that was okay.
Wrong. I thought Geelong was
and Essendon wrong.
17, so we got that wrong. And I went for Essendon too, and we got that horribly wrong. So we only got one out of 4.
Yeah. So this week, Vince.
It was a very unpredictable round of results this week, wasn't it? I mean, North Melbourne smashing Melbourne. Adelaide smashing Essendon. Who else? St Kilda. St Kilda beating Geelong, very unexpected. So, yes. As usual, football is very unpredictable. So, what are we going to do this week, Joe? Let's have a look. Let's have a look at it there. We've got Port Adelaide, who are playing, I think Essendon on Thursday night. So we're actually going to go for Port. I think Essendon's decimated at the moment, losing Kyle Langford and what's his name? That number 14. I'm trying to think of his name. Is it Ridley? I think that's been a really bad. Well, those two players out of the side is a massive blow to Essendon. So I'm going for Port Adelaide by minus. I think the line is at minus 6.5.
No, they should win by 10 goals.
At least it was when I did this. I'm choosing Carlton. We've got to win by at least 2 points there. So I'm going for Carlton. I went for Carlton by 21. So I'm backing up my own prediction with this.
GWS play Hawthorn.
I'm including Carlton for the third week in a row in my 4-league multi. GWS, who have had a week off, to win by at least, to win or to lose by up to 12 points against Hawthorn down in Tasmania. I think Hawthorn might be, by next week, showing a few signs of, needing a bit of a break. Yeah, maybe a bit of fatigue. I think GWS with the week off will come back nice and refreshed. They do play very well when they go down to any of these sort of foreign locations, whether it's Ballarat or whether it's Launceston or Hobart or any of those sorts of places. They play well. So I'm going for GWS to actually get within 2 goals of Hawthorn. So at least that allows Hawthorn to win the game by up to 12 points and we still get the win. Geelong, same scenario here. I'm choosing Geelong to win.
Against Brisbane.
against the
Brisbane.
Brisbane Lions up there at the Gabba. I think they'll be smarting from that defeat last night to the St Kilda side, and I think they'll be very keen to atone. And, I think Chris Scott might be plotting the downfall of the Brisbane Lions, who weren't all that impressive today, let's be honest. And even their first round win wasn't, against Sydney Swans. It was okay, and it was up in Sydney, but it wasn't anything remarkable. Took them a fair while to eventually get over the Swans as well. So I don't think Brisbane's in top form. So I'm going for Geelong to win or to lose by up to 12 points. So I'm quietly confident that we're going to be right in there this week with this one.
There we go. All right. So, Vince, each leg is paying $1.90. So it's $1.90 to the power of 4,
Correct.
which is $13.03. So a $10 outlay gives us $130. The next slide, I don't know what's wrong with it, but you've had 2 bets, 2 losses. So the balance in our account is $80. You're not worried?
Okay. No, so we outlay another $10, and when we win $130 back, we'll be up to $200 in our account, Joe.
Hang on. Oz has got Port Adelaide by 12 points or more, Carlton by 18 points, GWS by 12, and Brisbane by 24. And
All
my
right.
friend
let's see whose bet comes off. I like to see those alternatives come up on screen. That's good. At least you're thinking about it.
Yes. And hello to my friend Ernest. We're watching cricket today. Before we go, it's the end of the show. Just a big shout out to my old cricket team, Barnawatha North.
Yes.
Today they had their grand final at Faulkner Park Oval and won.
Faulkner
easily.
Park in South Yarra?
Yeah, Faulkner Park, just there off St Kilda Road. Yeah. The boys did it easy, 8 overs to spare and 7 wickets. So I think a few of them may be nursing a hangover tomorrow. Don't ask me why, but when I left, I was the only one over 18 that wasn't drunk. I've been drinking water because I had a responsibility to do this show. Anyway, Vince,
before we wrap up, can we just say a few hellos there? Some of our viewers have been putting in the comments. Great to say big hello to Danny Finn. Danny Finn's given us a big compliment, saying great show, Joe and Vince. Thanks very much. We've got Ralph there. We've got Rocco Moro. We've got a whole heap of them, haven't we? I'm just trying to go through here. Peter,
Lana, our usual. Oz,
Owens,
Rambo.
Let's see Lana. Yep.
Peter Bobblehead. Who else is there?
We really appreciate your contributions, your comments. Joe does try and put up as many of the relevant ones as he can. And, we really appreciate the loyalty. So last week we had a record amount of views. I think we got up to nearly 2,000 views last week. Yeah. So that's really big. That's really big for us. So we really thank you for that.
And I'd like to concur with Rocco. Please like, share, and subscribe. Yeah,
spread the word. If you're liking the show, please tell as many of your family and friends about us as you can, and encourage them to watch. And if you didn't like the show, well, then just shut up and keep it to yourself.
Tell Vince. Tell Vince.
Tell me.
Anyway, like I said, you'll find us at Facebook. You can find us at Blue Sunday. And as per usual, we are on YouTube at The Jumper Punch. So, Vince, that brings us to the end of our show. Yep. The show's coming out this week. Jumper Punch, Tuesday night. Wednesday night, Forever Rivals. So, for times, have a look at The Jumper Punch on Facebook. And Rocco normally shares them to our channel. So, Vince.
What about the change room? Are they coming back yet?
I'm not sure. I haven't spoken to Rash, but I'm sure they will. So, Vince, you are up in sunny Mildura this week?
Oh, it's beautiful up here. 31 degrees for the whole week. So, Tanya and I are going to be enjoying a few days away. And, yes, we'll be back. Don't worry. I'll be back next Sunday night to dissect the Carlton versus Western Bulldogs game. And let's hope we're coming off a win this time.
All right. So, Vince, from me, it's good night. And from you, it's...
Good night from me. And Joe, enjoy the rest of your time here in Melbourne before you fly back on, Monday week you fly back. So
yeah, I'll try and catch up with you when you're back.
Absolutely. And enjoy the game on Friday night, the Bulldogs game. Hopefully you get to witness a win for a change.
Yeah,
and enjoy the rest of your time in Melbourne before you go back home to Bangkok.
Thanks, Vince. All right, everyone. See you all
the best,
next
mate.
Sunday night at 7:30.
Go Blues.